Here's a one-of-a-kind opportunity to buy 6 of the big bore Honda two-strokes, including the very first production 1981 CR450, the 82 and 83 CR480s, and the 84, 86, and 87 CR500s. Buy all 6 open class bikes as a package for 18 grand, or choose your weapon at a slightly higher price per unit. This is probably the only package of its kind available on the planet today. Let's have a look at each bike. First up is the 1981 CR450R Elsinore. I've owned this California bike for about 10 years. I fired it up and rode it at that time and it ran correctly. It's been stored indoors ever since. You will need to go through the bike. The engine kicks through. I'd rate this bike a solid 7. Purchased individually, $3,200 will make it yours. Next up is the 1982 Honda CR480R. I've owned this California bike also for about 10 years. Just after my purchase, I did some practice laps with this one at Verona Oaks MX track and it performed beautifully. It's been stored indoors ever since. Of the package, this one has the lowest hours, very original, very sweet, a fantastic machine in great condition. You will need to go through the bike. Yes, the engine kicks through. I'd rate this bike an 8.5 to a 9. Purchased individually, $3,500 will make it yours. Next up is the 1983 Honda CR480R. This is my all-time favorite bike. This California bike I have owned for 18 years, and it's been stored and ridden intermittently during that time. I've ridden this one several times recently, in March and April, and it remains a reliable, thrilling two-stroke as always. I can provide a Facebook link to a video of me riding the bike, a new seat cover, an extra rim, paddle, sprocket setup for the dunes is included. It's only been stored indoors. You will need to go through the bike. I'd rate the bike a solid 8. Purchased individually, $3,300 will buy it. Next up is the 1984 Honda CR500R. I've owned this California bike for about 10 years. This is the only bike in the package I have never fired up. Although I was told by the seller she's a runner. The bike has a Clark tank, Acerby's disc guard and fork leg protector, and includes a pair of Mayer side panels. It's been stored indoors since my acquisition. You will need to go through the bike. The engine kicks through. I'd rate this bike a 6. Purchased individually, $3,000 will make it yours. Now, although it's not included, it's surely worth mentioning the 1985 CR500R sold to a buyer in Connecticut. I rode the bike when I purchased it 10 years ago, but was stored ever since and would not kick through today. The buyer went through the bike and had it running in 2 days. He paid $3 grand plus shipping. I rated this very original bike a 7, mainly because it would not kick through. He's a stoked and happy brapper who is available for reference. Next up is the mighty 1986 Honda CR500R. I've owned this California bike for about 10 years. For a couple years, right after my purchase, I rode the bike several times on trails and practice laps on the Glen Helen National Track. A fantastic machine that brapped beautifully. I began noticing the Kickstarter skipped now and then, but always started dependably. It has an FMF gnarly pipe, aluminum skid plate, Asserby's disc guard and fork leg protector. It's always been stored indoors. You will need to go through the bike. The engine kicks through. I'd rate the bike an 8.5. Purchased individually, $3,500 will buy it. Next up is the nicest bike in the package, the 1987 Honda CR500R. I've owned this bike for about 10 years. I've never ridden it, but I've ridden several times along with my buddy Bruce, the previous owner. This one has many installed mods, including a Clark tank, easy pull clutch system, custom bar clamp, Asserby's disc guard and fork leg protector, fender and number plate, aluminum radiator guards, skid plate, rear caliper guard, disc guard, master cylinder guard, and chain guide guard. Has an Answer SA Pro silencer, a spark arrestor, Racetech shock and spring, inline temperature gauge, and an FMF pipe. Also included are an extra rim sprocket paddle tire setup for the dunes, aluminum subframe, pipe guard, original silencer, rear plastic disc guard, plastic radiator guards, and airbox cover, along with the service manual and a nice pair of modded side panels. It's always been stored indoors. You will need to go through the bike. The engine kicks through. I'd rate this bike with all its inclusions a conservative 9. Purchased individually, $3,800 will buy it. Location is SoCal, Lake Elsinore, Paris area, zip code 92570. Yes, I can ship anywhere. I'll take cash, credit card, or bank wire transfer. First come, first served. Call Frank at 951-235-3238.